I'm going to tell another story. That one was cool, I guess, but I feel like I'm leaving my Bike Just Bedtime Story fans hanging on that one, maybe. I've got a lot of stories about trials and tribulations, and the reason I'm going to share those is because they're kind of maybe interesting, and the pure volume of them and the detail that goes into it, and they're all, a lot of these you could check the public record and find out that I'm telling the truth. Okay? A lot of these stories I'm telling you are a matter of public record, let me put it that way. And so it'll be perfectly obvious to anybody that pays attention and wants to do any kind of check, like a background check on Old Bike Jeff, that, oh, he's telling the truth. All this stuff actually happened. And here we go. I was 19 years old, and I was living in a town called Lubbock, Texas. And I bumped into a friend of mine. I'll just call him Larry. That's his name, but I'm not going to say too much more. I'm not going to dox him, give his identity away, but he's a friend of mine. And hadn't seen him in a while. We'd met in a foster home, and we'd like got in a bunch of trouble together and ran away from the foster home, joined the carnival. So we're road dogs, okay? I hadn't seen in a while. I think he got arrested. I got arrested. Something I hadn't seen in a while. We bumped into each other walking down the street. Hey! It's bad, okay? It wasn't good when we got together. We were both young and stupid. And we're getting drunk, smoking pot. We did some acid or something like that. We had plenty of connections for that sort of thing. And we were walking down the street, and all of a sudden my friend goes, oh, hey, check this out. And there was like a nice Buick with keys in it. We jump in that thing, start up, and drive away. It's on. We're going on a sick one, okay? We just start riding out of. We're leaving Texas. We're going to ride this. We don't know where we're going to go, but we're leaving, okay? In a stolen car, G-Ride. We drive all night. We get into New Mexico, and there's this kid that he knows that's got adopted. He met him in a foster home, and he got adopted, and he kind of kept in contact with him. He knew his phone number. And he called him up and said, hey, listen, me and my friend here, we're in a car. We wonder if we can borrow some money, maybe get some gas. And he's like, dude, I can get you some gas. My dad works for he had one of those jobs to where they had a company cars where they could fill up the tank at the company gas station, if you understand what I'm talking about. He said, I'll get my dad's card, and it'll open up the gate, and I'll fill your tank up. So he met us out there, and we like hung out with each other for a while, and then he did exactly what he said and said, well, good luck, guys, and we kept on driving. We got to this town called Albuquerque, New Mexico. It's a rough gig there. It was rough back then. It's rough now, but it's a pretty good-sized town. By this time, we're pretty much getting out of gas, and we have no money. We got no food. And we're like, what are we going to do? You know? Go shoplift something from the store? You're like, nah, it doesn't sound cool. And Larry was like a year younger than me, but he's a little bit more streetwise. He'd been around the block a little bit more than me. I'd been around the block, but he'd been around a little bit more than me. He'd been in the system longer and been a runaway longer, this and that. So he's like, hey, I know what we're going to do. We're going to go to Catholic church, and we're going to try to bum some money off the priest. That sounds cool. They're pushovers, right? They believe in Jesus and everything, and so, they're suckers, you know? Yeah. Watch. I got this. So we went looking at, this is the back of the day, dude. There's no cell phones. There's no Google. There's none of that. We look in the phone book. I don't expect a lot of you guys to understand what a phone book is, but there's a book with phone numbers in it. Okay? Hard copy, not electronic. And so we go to payphone. That's another thing that you don't see anymore. And look in the phone book, and there's a Catholic church nearby, and we go to the Catholic church. And it looks like the Alamo or something. It's like a mission or whatever, you know. It's old Catholic church there in Albuquerque, in New Mexico. The Spaniards have been there forever, you know, so it's pretty old. It's a 150-year-old church. Ring the buzzer. We're sitting there waiting and waiting. He's like, it might take him a while. Finally, this priest comes out. Old Mexican guy. Can I do for you, my sons? Father, and my friend, let me do the talking. Yeah, my friend. Father, we're on the road. We don't have any money. We need gas. We don't have any food. And I'm wondering if you could help us out with some cash, help a brother out. He's like, oh, I was hoping you guys would show up. I was praying and the Lord has provided. He said, would you guys like to do a little work to make a little money? And we're like, yeah, we'll do a little work for some money. Come on in. And he doesn't let us through that door, but he opens up this big gate. He closes that door, meet me at the gate, and he opens this big gate. And we walk through, and there's this big square. The whole thing's like this big, square hallways with overhangs, it's overhangs on both sides, but it's like a line of buildings all around. There's a square in the middle, like a palisade or a fort, kind of. Maybe that's what it was. I don't know. There's this big square in the middle, and it's just all dirt. And it's been turned like they're going to plant crops. It's like leveled out and everything, but it's been rototilled kind of and packed down. We're like, what's going on here? And he walks us across. He opens this other big gate. And there's this trailer. There's no tractor, but there's this big trailer out there with pallets of sod. Packed, like 5 foot high and all the way down, this 50-foot trailer. You guys take this sod and lay it out. Because it'd been watered. It was like mud, basically. It was wet. Yeah, I was thinking I was going to have to do this myself, but I'm an old man. So you guys do this, unload all this sod and roll it out here, because we've done stuff like that before. Yeah, of course we had. And, oh boy, here we go. What are we going to do? We need the money, first of all. What are we going to do? Go, oh no, we don't want to do this because we look like jerks. We didn't want to look bad in front of the priest. Okay, Father, we'll get right on it. We were tough young kids, man. We went at it, hammer and tongs, and we got that job done in like 3 or 4 hours. It was a big square, too. It was like 75 by 75 feet. It was no joke. Maybe even bigger than that. The whole tractor, we got it all laid out and nice, perfect job. And he gave us $35 a piece. I know you're like, $35 a piece? This is like 1983, okay? 84, something like that. I don't remember. And that's a lot of money back then, You get a pack of cigarettes for 75 cents, okay? We're rolling now. We got, $70. We go fill up the tank. Gas is 75 cents a gallon, whatever, something like that. We fill up the tank. We buy something to eat. And we're about to head out of town. I'm driving. Well, I come up to a light. I'm about to take a left-hand turn. I'm going to take a left-hand turn. And I think it's all clear, and I'm starting to take a left-hand turn. All of a sudden, I see this motorcycle coming out of... His motorcycle, the guy's a black motorcycle wearing... I didn't see him until I did. And then I stopped. I didn't even start turning, but the guy thought I was going to turn in front of him. So he hit his brakes and locked him up and skids all the way across the intersection. He gets right up, even with us about, 7 or 8 feet away from the car door. And he's kind of cocked to the side, too. Kind of like fishtailed a little bit. And he's a dead stop, but the bike tumbles over. And he hits the ground. Oh, shit. I get out of the car. I go, hey, are you all right? And I was like, oh, shit. What are you doing? Hey, dude. I stopped. Well, I thought you were going to. I'm like, sorry, but, there was no collision. He just blocked up the brakes thinking I was going to pull in front of him, and I didn't. I help him pick up his bike. We push it into the gas station. My friend gets behind the wheel of the car, and he drives it up in the gas station. We're like, he's helping him. You all right? Somebody already got on the payphone, or maybe it was like the gas station. Those guys saw what happened, and they were sitting. Somebody called the cops. The cops show up. Oh boy, this is a stolen car, man. Okay, cops are like, oh, what's going on? It's like we described what happened. They're like, hey, did the guy hit you? And the guy's like, no, I thought he was going to take a left-hand turn in front of me. I locked up the brakes, and I skidded, and I kind of I wiped out. He didn't hit me. But the cop still wants, there's an incident. And there was other people around that were witnesses that said, we don't know why they didn't see what really, they just saw the guy, hauling ass and hitting the brakes and then skidding and falling over. No, we didn't see this guy didn't do anything wrong, but the cop wanted my ID. And I had a driver's license. It's the only driver's license I ever had. I'd just gotten it I was 18. I wasn't 19. I was 18. Something like that. I can't remember exactly when it was. It was 18, 19, something like that. But I was 19, and I'd just gotten this driver's license. So I pull out my driver's license. He said, you got registration? He said, registration insurance? All I could think of was to get in the glove compartment. Well, there's registration insurance. I handed over some lady's name. And he's like, is this your car? And I was like, no, it's my grandma's. You guys are from Texas? Yeah. And I'm like, yeah. She let me borrow her car. We're going to see some friends. She doesn't care. These are, simpler times, guys. He just bought it, And he runs he punches it on the information. It's all kosher, I guess. We're thinking, oh, this isn't going to turn out very good. We're about to go to jail. Okay, well, you can go. Well, we jump in the car and start driving. We're heading out of town. We're on the interstate heading out of town. We get about 25 miles outside of town. The highway patrol pulls up behind us and hits his lights and his horn. Pull over. Gets us out of the car at gunpoint and cuffs us. We get on the ground, cuffs us. You're under arrest. Stolen car. Okay? He comes, gets the tow truck. The tow truck drives away. We're in the back of his car, and he's hauling ass up into the mountains because we're like on the flat ground. He's hauling up into the mountains. We're like, whoa, where are we going? He's like, taking you to Mora jail. That's where the jail's at in the town of Mora. Never heard of this. It's up near Taos, I guess. He gets us to the jail, and we're there for a couple weeks. It's kind of interesting. It's a little cowboy jail, cowboy town jail. The chow was a diner across the street. He'd go order something to eat and bring it across, and we'd eat it. There's this old cowboy that had to spend nights in jail because he was a drunk, and they didn't want to get in trouble. And he'd get into trouble if they didn't put him in jail every night, and he'd have to spend the week in there, and he'd sneak booze in. And the cop knew it. Cigarettes. We'd have cigarettes and booze. There's a kid that had to come there and spend the weekend there too, and he'd bring in pot and acid. We're having a good old time. But finally, the Texas Rangers come to pick us up. To extradite us back to Texas. We'd signed extradition papers. Okay, let's take us back. Let's get this over with. They get us in the car. There's two of them. They get us in the back of the car. We're all cuffed, shackled up. We're driving down the road, and they're like, hey, where the hell's the car? What'd you guys do with that car? We're like, what do you mean, what did we do with the car? Gary, once again, comes to rescue. He kind of like nudges me. Shut up, stupid. Let me handle this. Oh, I know what you're talking about. I want to talk to my lawyer. Stop asking me questions. The cop looks over at me and said, I'd shake my head now. I can play the game too. I'm pretty streetwise myself. I'm like, yeah. Stop asking me questions without my lawyer present. And even if my lawyer is present, I'm not going to answer your questions. So it was pretty tense ride after that. They were pissed. We're looking at each other like, what do they mean? What did we do with the car? We got busted in it and you towed it off to the impound yard. That's where it's at, right? We don't know. They don't know where the car's at. Something happened to it. Who knows? Well, they drive us all the way into Lubbock and book us into the jail and take us to our cells. And I'm about 13 minutes into this story, and I can only upload 14 minutes and 59 seconds on my YouTube channel because that's just the longest length I have that I can upload with the privilege that I have with YouTube right now. So, to be continued.